And so what a perfect exclamation point to have a friend of over a decade here with me, Mr. Tim Lester. He has been all over the place, and he has left many places better than he's found them. He's had a lot of success, and he's running the offense with Iowa, and these Hawkeyes right now are holding themselves in good footing right now as we get later on into the season. The way that they have been playing inside of this conference, a lot to be said. So I know he's up on the screen, but he's going to have to let me make this intro for him, and that is to take a look at the Big Ten and say that Iowa is in the top 4 right now of the Big Ten. They are 4-1 in the conference. They are 6-2 overall, already bowl eligible, and looking to be so much more as they are in the hunt right now. If Indiana or Ohio State trips up at some point here and has a loss, well, then we're looking at the Oregon and Iowas of the world at potentially having a shot at a Big Ten championship. So with that being said, Mr. Lester, how are we doing today?
I am doing great, man. How are you?
Doing
I like the mustache, by the way. Solid. It's impressive. It's impressive.
Well, I will say this to you right now. I am working on something that I can't talk about. And the thing that I'm working on that I can't talk about did not allow me to have my goatee. And so they approached me and said, "How do you feel about shaving it?" And I was like, "Don't ask me how I feel, because the answer is no." And but then they kept asking. I was like, "Listen, you can do what you need to do, and if you got to take it off." It's kind of growing on me. And so, I mean, literally and figuratively. So I guess I'm okay with it, but it's funny that you noticed it, because I was going to tell you before we went on air, like, hey, just so you know, the goatee is gone, but just because of something that is going on right now.
Yeah, I think it looks great. I had my quarterback last week. He's always had facial hair, and he had the handlebars for our last game. Full handlebars, straight from dodgeball, like whatever that Globo Gym, whatever Ben Stiller's character was. Yeah. And I loved it. And then he shaved it off right after the game. I was upset.
Yeah, I mean, I see that. I know you got some facial hair on right now, but I can see that your stash is living pretty well as well. So I gotta give you a shout out too, and say that you're rocking it with some confidence, so I can appreciate it.
Yeah, I'm slowly growing up, slowly.
So we're inside of the season. You and I spoke going into this season. At 6-2, we have 4 games left in the regular season, 4-1 in the Big Ten. Just when I take a look at these 8 games, you take a look back at the film and everything, before I get into specifics, kind of the broad paintbrush of how you feel about this offense and how it's been running through the first 8.
Yeah, we've been up and down. You know, we started, obviously, a brand new quarterback. Mark Gronowski came from South Dakota State. He's a great player. Just trying to understand what we're doing, why we're doing it. You know, we had week 2 loss. You know, I wish we would have, been a little bit more aggressive. He's learning. He doesn't make mistakes. He keeps us in every game. Taking the next step, throwing the ball, being more aggressive with it. We needed to do that against Iowa State. But then he really started kind of hitting his stride. All of a sudden we played, I was at UMass, and then we played Rutgers, and then we played even Indiana before he got hurt. I think he was 19 of 23. He was throwing the ball well, and kind of really we were getting into rhythm. Yeah. Unfortunately, he got hurt in that game. I'd love to say if he didn't get hurt, we had a chance against Indiana. It came down to the last possession, and it was a great game. And now he's back after a little kind of a sprained knee, wearing a brace now, and he's just getting better every single week, and we're running the ball more efficiently. Obviously, our defense is playing great. They've gotten better every week, and our special teams is fantastic. So, we're playing complementary football right now. We're scoring, I think, 30-some points a game, and a lot of different ways. Mark's a runner now. I've had, obviously, Dungy. Yeah. Right? Everyone knows that. I had Dungy, and Dungy is like a great athlete. He can run it everywhere. This guy's like a fullback. I mean, he's 240 pounds. He looks like Tebow, So you're running different styles of runs with him, like power and counter, and he likes to be downhill, and he can throw it as well. So it's been a lot of fun for me learning about, having a quarterback like this, because I've had a lot of different styles of quarterbacks, and no one seems, they just want you to score points no matter what. and doesn't really matter how you get it. 6 points is 6 points, and but Mark just has a knack for the end zone, man. He's really doing a good job of when we get in the red zone, finding ways to get in. It's normally him somehow or another. He's the one that ends up in the paint. So it'll be fun. We got a bye week this week, and then we got a big game at Oregon here in about I don't know, 7 8 days. So that'll be a big challenge.
Yeah, and when you were looking to, because you and I spoke about the quarterback situation coming into the season and having new faces and guys that may not have a lot of experience and kind of trying to figure out in this melting pot at Iowa which one was going to come out of it and be that cream that essentially rises to the top. And you just mentioned the gentleman that ended up being that with Mark Gronowski and coming from San Diego State. What did he show you on film in his time at San Diego State? Because he started there during COVID back in 2020 was when he kind of first showed up on the stat sheet, so to speak. So what was it about him that stuck out to you in the time that he had at San Diego State?
Yeah, it's South Dakota
Oh,
State,
South Dakota.
not San Diego.
I'm
South
sorry.
Dakota State.
I'm
Yeah,
reading
you're
it.
good.
You want to know what it is? And this is full disclosure. I did not sleep. So, like,
Hmm.
I actually had an all-nighter from yesterday into today. So
Nice.
I looked, and I haven't had, I think the last time I did one of those was in college when I was working on a paper or something. So I'm sitting here
Yeah.
looking at it going, it's South Dakota, Dan. It's South Dakota. And my mouth was like, we got this, San
Yeah.
Diego. So
Yeah.
South
Yeah.
Dakota State, what did you
Yeah.
see from his film there?
Yeah, I mean, he was obviously, I think he's two-time national champ, uh, player of the year once or twice. I think that's the Walter Payton is the one double A Heisman,
Yeah.
and just consistency, right? I mean, he's currently the winningest college football quarterback in the history of college football. I think he's got 56, 57, 58 wins, something like that. So, you're getting a winner. And there's a lot that goes into that, when you have a winner, like as far as being in a lot of situations, a lot of close games, knowing when to pull it down, how to make a negative play into a positive play. He has such an innate ability when things don't go right to make sure that the drive isn't ruined. We had a first play of, I don't know, it was game 2 or 3, where they gave us a defense we hadn't seen. He didn't know. I mean, I wasn't sure what he was going to do. He had a lot of options on the play. He pulled the ball, pump faked the bubble screen, and then, went back and got us like 2 yards. And I know to everyone at home, 2 yards doesn't seem like a lot, but when you could be 2nd and 15 and you're 2nd and 8, like that's a huge play. Some of the best runs I've ever seen are 1 and 2 yard gains that were, almost tackled in the backfield, and the guy breaks the tackle and breaks another tackle and gets back and puts the offense back in an advantageous situation. He just does that play after play after play after play, and it really does help you continue to keep drives alive. And so that ability, that's where the experience. You're seeing it all over college football, though. You bring in guys that have played at other places that have the experience. You're seeing, I think, much better quarterback play. Just because anyone with experience is ending up at the higher levels, and so it's been really good. Having a guy with that much experience leading us.
Yeah, and when you look at, like you said, him leading the offense, I mean, well, and obviously, as you stated, he went through some injury adversity, but your team this season offensively and what you've been able to do, we see 30 plus points against you, Albany, in the loss to Iowa State, 13 in that game, but then
Yep.
47 against UMass, 38 against Rutgers. Indiana, like you said, it was a close game. There's a 5 point game, 20-15. You blew out Wisconsin. They did not score, 37-0. Penn State, the 25-24, and most recently 41-3 for Minnesota. So, we talk about complementary football, and you mentioned defense and special teams. When you are in control of this offense, how do you feel the three phases have complemented each other through the season up to this point?
I mean, I think we've just been getting better, right? Our last game was our most complete game. We took the opening drive down and scored, got a 3 and out, drove down, kicked the field goal. Then we got a pick six, and then we threw a touchdown pass on our next drive, and then we returned a punt for a touchdown. So it was 31-0 with like 10 minutes left in the second quarter.
Yeah.
Which it was just great to see all the phases play together. And so and we were pretty young. We lost a lot of seniors on defense last year, and Phil Parker's one of the best, if not the best ever, and he's got our defense playing at a really high level right now. There's no one that's a rookie anymore. You've been playing for 8 games now, so our defense is really kind of coming into their own at the perfect time. Mark's getting healthy at the perfect time because we played Wisconsin. Mark wasn't 100%. He was out there,
Yeah.
but he wasn't, feeling 100% yet, and he's been getting better. So it's been, we're healthy at the right time. You get into November, and you're in it, and you got a chance. That's all you can ask for.
And like you said, I mean, you're in it. You're in the mix here inside of the Big Ten, a team that you did face and had that close loss to, that 20-15 at home against Indiana. Indiana has risen to the top 2 in the country. Now you've gone up against this team, and I have had my thoughts about. I think they have 2 quality wins. I think they at Oregon and against you at Iowa. I consider those the 2 qualities that they have. They're going to finish their season playing 4 Big Ten teams that have a combined record in the conference of 1-17. So I don't see, and then before that in their schedule with the FCS opponent and some of the other things, I don't see Indiana playing as tough of a schedule as other teams that are within the top 10 or maybe have some argument to be in the top 2, top 4. But having gone up against Indiana, what have you seen from them? What are your takeaways of this Indiana team? Because I think it's a good team, but I don't know how challenged they've been outside of your game and the Oregon game.
Yeah, I think they're really good. I mean, they have great players, and they play hard, and their schemes are solid. We went into that game watching the film of what they did to Illinois, which was unbelievable. And they play fast, they play hard, they know what they're doing. I mean, it was a battle all the way down to the end. We had the ball, we missed a field goal to take the lead with 2 minutes left, I think, and then they went down and scored the game-winning touchdown. But it was a battle. Mendoza's playing at a high level. Their quarterback, I think, is a really good player. I watched him when he got on the portal. He's really good. And I think they're confident. I mean, they're doing the things they need to do within, they played UCLA, who was a hot team, and they rolled them last week, and that's all you can control, right?
Yeah.
They came in here to Kinnick, tough place to play. They won. They went to Oregon, at Oregon, which I've never been. I've heard it's a tough place to play, and won. And they won convincingly. Like, it's not, there's no fluke. They're not running triple passes to score. I mean, they're just running their offense and playing physical and not getting penalized. And it's an impressive team. Like, coach talks about it. You watch the film and you see why they're doing the things they're doing, so it'll be fun. I think do they play Penn State this week?
No,
I think they do.
Their game, so they have Maryland before Penn State.
Oh, I got you. Because Penn State is one of those teams that, they're talented now. We played them, and they have some dudes now. They're obviously they're dealing with a lot of change and having to deal with the things that can get you unfocused. But as far as the players that were walking out on that field, they were as talented as we've seen. So that'll be a challenge for them. But I was really impressed with their personnel and just how they handled the Kinnick crowd and everything. So it'll be fun to watch them as they continue to move forward. And if they play Ohio State, or whoever they play in the championship game, I definitely think they've earned the right to be in the field, and it'll all play out when they get a chance. But I do think they're a really good football team.
I have argued that. Well, I've stated I've challenged somebody to find me a team that was ranked in the top 10 that lost by 50 or more points. When we saw that happen with Illinois, who was 9 overall at the time. I've argued that because ranking, that rankings sometimes are sometimes they're biased, they're completely off. And I argued that the way that you've played versus the way that Illinois played, that you should have flip-flopped, that Iowa should have been given the top 10 or top 15 consideration instead of Illinois. Are you surprised? I know you're just doing what you can in front of you and this and that, but are you surprised that Iowa is still on the outside looking in, that that, the coaches poll I think has you like right about there, but then the AP has it lower. Are you surprised that people are not seeing what I'm seeing, which is that you've put in the body of work? There's been plenty of teams that have been ranked that haven't shown that they've earned the right to have that ranking. And then there's a team like Iowa where it seems like we're here in week 10 and there's like this reluctancy of putting the Hawkeyes in, which I think is wrong.
Yeah, I don't really, we don't really worry about that much, because I think when does the college football rankings come out? CFP rankings, does that start this weekend?
It starts this Tuesday, this coming Tuesday.
Yeah. So that those are the only, everything else I think is just for people to talk about, and then so they can say a game is that, two single digit teams playing in October, right? October means nothing. September means nothing. So yeah, I mean, I didn't really, I haven't put a lot of thought to it. I just really figuring out what's the next one. But I think this, you know, this next, when the CFP rankings come out, they're the group that supposedly, and I've never been in part of that meeting, but supposed to look at, if you were to, if we were to play some of those teams ranked in the top 25 right now, would we be favorite? I would assume we probably would, with against a couple of them, but that one will come out and kind of will affect what happens next, right? All the other things really doesn't really affect you a ton, but this next week when that ranking comes out, it'll be interesting to see where we're at and see, because that does have an impact on what can happen as the season goes on.
Yeah, and the game that you had, I mean, when we look back at how things have kind of shook out here, like you said, playing the games that you have and the opportunities you have in front of you. When we look at Iowa, and I go back to that game against Penn State, that 25-24 victory. I mean, what's crazy for me, but this world because you've been a head coach, you've been a coordinator, you've been an assistant, you've been a player. I mean, James Franklin helps Penn State to get to their first ever college football playoff. I was there. They won the game. It was also his 100th win, so it was very poetic. And less than 365 days later, he's fired for losing to two unranked teams back to back. And I mean, you go up against Penn State, you win a nail biter, 25-24, you gut it out. I mean, that's a good feather in the cap of Iowa to say, where you are right now and what you're working to do. But I mean, how crazy is this that, LSU, no Brian Kelly, his record 34-14. He went to a bowl game every year. He had 9 or 10 wins every single season. This season, he was 5-3. He had key victories each of the years that he was there, starting in 2022. They played for the SEC championship in his first season there. So when I'm talking about Brian Kelly and James Franklin, how are you reacting to this? Because this world and exactly this like microwave society of, I don't care what you did last year, you better win every game this year.
Yeah, it's and we talked about this last time I was on the show. It's turning into the NFL, right? Like in the NFL, for sure, if you win the Super Bowl one year, it does next year you could be fired. Like that's just the way it works, and there's some people that are reluctantly trying not to get us to go to that, but every decision made is getting us closer to that, right? And it's just making sure we have it all the parameters in place to get it to be the greatest version of the minor leagues for the NFL possible, but you're starting to see all the things that happen in the NFL happen in college, right? And I mean, James Franklin, I knew him from the AFCA Board of Trustees, and just the body of work there was pretty impressive. It's weird, at Iowa here, I don't know the exact number. I'm sure you can find it, but we've had 2 head coaches in 35, 40, maybe in 40 years, we've had 2 head coaches, 2 defensive coordinators, and 3 ADs in 47 years or whatever the number is. It's some crazy number. And the consistency of that is something that I think we value here, which I think, people don't. But if you look in the NFL, it's the same way. You look at the Steelers organization, you look at the Green Bay organization, like the teams that have consistent leadership, don't overreact. And they consistently, it's not every year, but they're consistently there because they have some continuity. and they're not blowing it up every. And then you have other teams that have new coaches every 2 seasons,
Yeah.
and it's the same thing, and it's going to happen in college football too. So, and there's going to be teams that the consistency will win out, especially in a non-consistent world that we live in. The consistency is really a superpower if you have the right people in charge making those decisions.
Yeah, and you make mention of the fact that consistency, and we've talked about this before on the show when it comes to Iowa, something that, people don't typically talk about when it comes to college football and the FBS. And when I go back and look at Hayden Fry, he was the head coach of Iowa from 1979 to 1998. So we're talking 2 decades worth of work. And then Kirk Ferentz takes over in 1999, and he's been there ever since. And we're here in 2025. So we're talking about he's going close to 30 years of being the head coach. So you got a 2 decade coach and you got almost a 3 decade coach. I mean, what school can talk about a guy who's been there for almost 3 decades, that before the 21st century he was the coach? And I mean, that's pretty incredible, especially seeing the fact that Iowa's playing some really awesome football right now. So it's not like times have passed him by. He's obviously very relevant in today's football.
Yeah, it's really it'll I don't know if it'll ever happen again unless you get the right president and ADs, and the consistency of. And now he's consistently won. He This year he became the winningest coach in the history of the Big Ten, which is he passed Woody Hayes, and just an unbelievable person, and the steady leadership, and it's so unique. It's unlike so many places, and I think I'm hoping more and more places see the value in it. You know. Um, and I think it's gonna be teams that are aggressive and are always trying to make. I mean, I read, was it didn't Matt Rule just sign something? And I saw a
Yeah.
tweet saying that then they fired a coach that was 9-2 a while ago, and now they went to a bowl game last year, and he's done a good job of building that program back up. But he got an extension, but yet earlier on they were firing guys that were 9-2. So I think people will learn from their mistakes, but I definitely think there's gonna be a lot more mistakes made before people before people learn on how to build a program, not a 1 year team. And maybe people just want to build a 1 year team and that's it. Or other people are going to want to build a program. It's really the decision that has to be made by the decision makers.
Yeah, and when you talk about, I mean, building a program, you have been a head coach. You were at your alma mater, Western Michigan, and then you've served in the role of overseeing the offense, and obviously you've served positionally as well. When you look at being a head coach versus a coordinator, now that you've done both and you've seen what they look like, to be the overseer of it all and then to be the person that is overseeing one phase of the game, how do you look at it in your life? Do you have a preference? Do you lean one way or the other because you have had success? And you and I have spoken about the fact that there's places where you've been where you had success. And I can say this, you can sit on the screen and you could smile or stare right at the screen, but there's people that have made mistakes when it comes to Tim Lester. And so when I look at the work that you've done, you're capable of being a head coach. You're capable of pulling off some amazing moments. One of my favorite moments I've ever had in college football, on the edge of my seat, when I was watching a trick play that you had at the end of the game. And I was like, how long have you had that up your sleeve? So, now you're here at Iowa and the team's moving. And like I said, 6-2, 4-1 in the Big Ten. You're living in a strong world here. There's 18 teams in the Big Ten and you're in the top four. So at this point in your career, if you were given the choice and it was like, head coach, offensive coordinator, would you shift back into being a head coach? Or do you feel like, hey, you know what? I like running the offense. I like locking in here.
It's a good question. I'm gonna kind of sidestep it a little bit in that it would depend on the program, right? Like I've been a head coach for 12 of my 25 years coaching. And if you're at the right program, I would love to be head coach. It'd be fantastic. But some people, in desperation to become a head coach will go to a program that is not funded and is not supported. And you take a job like some of these jobs that are open right now. If you don't win the national championship in 2 years, you're
Yeah.
gone. Like
Yeah.
it's just proven, right? History will repeat itself. But in absence of being able to go to a program that's a great program and lead them, being the offensive coordinator for Coach Ferentz is about the greatest job you can have. It's fun to come to work. I'm learning every single day from him. Uh, so I think it would all depend on the place, right? And it would have to be the right place, the right time, because this is an awesome job and I love it, and I'm having a ton of fun, and I'm coaching ball, and so the answer was yes, I would do it 100%, but in no way, shape, or form is there any desperation of wanting to be a, because I've done that, and it is an honor to be a head coach. It's a lot of headaches, it's a lot of work. Um, so if the right place came along, 100%. If not, I'm in a great place and I'm enjoying every minute of it.
What have you learned the most when you look back on the most notable things that you take with you? What have been some of those moments? Because what do they say? If you feel like you've made it, that's when you start to decline. So you should always be learning, always be gaining. So the Tim Lester that I'm sitting here with today versus the Tim Lester that I met over a decade ago, what does this Tim Lester know that that guy didn't?
I think I would say patience is the biggest thing, and I learn a ton from Coach Ferentz every single day, right? So I have the winningest coach in the history of the Big Ten. His office is right there on the other side of that wall, and I get to rub elbows with him and ask him questions and just watch how he leads a group of men, right? And it's such an unbelievable thing to watch, and he keeps it super simple. He has the superpower of taking all this complex stuff that's going on in the world. And if you ever watch his press conferences, you'll 100% see what I'm talking about. And he'll listen to when NIL was coming along and when Rev Share, and he'll listen to this 45-minute, all this complex, this is all gray and murky, it's clear as mud. And then he'll just sit there and listen, and then he'll explain it in one sentence, make it crystal clear. He's like, so what you're telling me is this is going to happen, and then if this happens, this is going to happen, this is what we got to do. And you're like, wow, that's really simple. Like he took all of that data,
Yeah.
he took it in, and he made it sound so simple. And he does that for our players. All the stuff going on in the world, he can put it in such a way, simple, concise. This is what we need to focus on. This is what we're doing. It's such a superpower of his, and so that's something I've continued to learn, how he messages our players, and how he handles the ups and the downs. And it's not like this program in 27 years hasn't gone through its ups and downs and this controversy or that. We're not immune to any of that. It's just how he has handled all of it. And I've learned a ton from him in the last year and a half since I've been here on how to handle those things and how to successfully navigate some of the things that college football will bring at you. So that's probably I've learned a ton more in the last year and a half as far as being a head coach, obviously, because the guy I'm working for.
Is it still ball to you when we look at contracts and paying players and rev share and essentially trying to manage a salary cap as opposed to managing people that are supposed to be going to school and getting an education? Like, can you still coach ball? I mean, is it still that to you? Do you feel like those are the players that come into Iowa? Like, yeah, they might have an NIL deal, or they might do this or do that. They might be at this appearance, but it's still ball. Like, can you still have the just kind of smell of the pigskin, rain on your helmet type of football day?
You can, and I think that's the key to this whole thing is can you, and it's the same as the NFL. And having spent some time in the NFL, you see it in Green Bay, like the separation of, church and state or whatever you want to call it, but like the personnel guys and then the coaches. And
Yeah.
the coaches and the players are one entity, and the general manager who does a phenomenal job here, and coach, being a Pittsburgh Steeler fan, watching that organization for over decades. I think they've only had two coaches in whatever many years as well. But It's funny because he's from Pittsburgh. Has anyone figured out when he came to Iowa 27 years ago that we have the same uniforms? We have like he's basically building the same thing. I don't think anyone knows he's from that area, but we are basically the Pittsburgh Steelers with our uniforms and everything. Anyway, but he has done such an unbelievable job of separating the two. Like I have no clue what my quarterbacks make. I always tell them when they come in here, okay, go meet with the GM, meet with the head coach. I hope you get everything you want. My job is to coach you and have you over to the house and go swimming and we go golfing and we sit in the hot tub. We have a blast and we get to football is football still. It's still about the relationships you have, the blocking, the tackling, the technique, all that stuff. And the more it gets convoluted, almost the better for us because the game's not changing. The game is the game, and it's just all the outside factors. If you let it in, if you can't simplify them, like I talked to Coach Ferentz does such a good job of, it can ruin teams. You see teams that started hot that are now terrible. There's so much going on within each program right now, and you see it in the NFL. Remember back in the day when it was a big deal to be the head coach and the general manager?
Yeah.
And like that was a big deal. That like 15 years ago, that was the thing. You didn't want one without the other. I like them separated. And
Oh,
we
yeah.
can argue about players and they're going to do the drafting and they're going to do and they'll ask for our opinion. But the only way to keep the coaches and the players like this is to keep those two things separated. And I know other people aren't doing it that way. If the if the linebacker coach is in charge of the money from the room, you've already decided who your starters and twos and threes. There's no competition anymore because that guy's going to start. He makes whatever, and this guy makes less, so he's the two. And we don't have to deal with any of that stuff. I coach my guys. I'm going to play the best guy, and the next year they'll do their contracts again. And once they get done with all the things, the ink's dried, then we go back to work. So it can be done. It's just a very fragile process, and if you learn from, I know Scott Pioli is a guy that's been helping. He's friends with Coach. Coach was in the NFL for 6 years. He was on that staff, the Brown staff with Belichick and
Okay.
Saban, and he was the O-line coach. So they're all like this. So he has tons of connections to people that have done things like this before in contracts, and so it's great for him to have that knowledge, and it's great for him to keep us out of it. And so it's it's a crazy time, but I definitely think it can be done. It's still ball here, and I don't know if it's still ball everywhere, but it's still ball here.
I love that. I love hearing that. I'm not surprised when it comes to you. We got, like you said, you're in a bye week, but when ball comes back on the field, you will have yourselves one heck of a matchup. And this matchup is in the top four of the Big Ten, with Oregon 4-1. You're 4-1 both in the conference. They're 7-1 overall, and you are 6-2. And this game is going to be obviously at home in Iowa. So bring me into this matchup. Your thoughts on Oregon, and to one of the teams that I consider has been rightly one of the few teams that I think the polls have actually been just with, and
Mhm.
being in the top six. So your thoughts on this matchup, because we have an Iowa team that I think should at this point have earned a better spot, and then you have an Oregon team that has been given a good spot, and obviously they've won. This is going to be one awesome matchup. I can't wait to see it and experience what this is going to be. So I'd love to get your thoughts on it, as coming out of that bye week, no big deal. Just two teams trying to play for a lot inside of the Big
Yeah.
Ten.
Yeah, it's going to be a big game, and it's in Kinnick, which is fantastic for us. And they're a talented group now. We've watched a little bit of them. This is a week for us to get all the young kids reps, and we practiced on Tuesday and Wednesday and got them going, and now they have some time off for the next couple of days, and we'll circle back on Sunday and get ready. But I mean, turning the film on the last 2 days, I mean, they're everything you think you'd see, right? They're extremely talented. Some of the transfers they got are very, very skilled and experienced. They're really good up front. Obviously, Dan Lanning defensively is an extremely intelligent coach and puts them in good situations all the time, and will confuse offenses and get you to play a little bit slower. And so they do a lot of things. It's going to be a battle, but it's still going to be decided in the trenches, right? I mean, our offensive line is one of the best in the country. I think theirs is too. but I think ours is, and we can move people around and not turn the ball over. And you have to do all the things in a big game. You got to do all the things that we say football's still football, right? Don't turn the ball over, run the ball. Huge games. It's funny you watch those big games and you're not shocked when it's Georgia, Alabama, and it's 10, 16 to 14 in the third and fourth quarter. Like it's going to be one of those matchups, and it's fun. It'll be fun to have it at home. Um, but they don't really have a weakness. You normally don't have a single digit number by you and have a ton of weaknesses, and so it'll be a huge challenge. It'll be exciting for Iowa City to have a matchup like this. I don't think they've ever been here, but they played in a whiteout against Penn State this year, so it's not like they're going to be immune, or they're not going to be shocked by the atmosphere. So it's going to be just one of those great college November matchups, that matter, and our guys just got to stay focused on the game and what it takes, and we're playing good right now. Which we have to. That doesn't mean you're going to play good in the next one. We just played a Minnesota team that got after Nebraska, pretty bad the week before, and then, they had a rough first half against us. So we just got to continue to focus on those things. But it is going to be this place will be rocking. It's going to be a fun atmosphere on that Saturday, whatever time it is. I don't know. They haven't announced it yet because for whatever reason, they're waiting another week. So because I think they know they want to put it wherever the most people can watch it,
Yeah.
So it's going to be a fun one for sure.
Yeah, I was looking at that like while we're here, I'm in the studio and I'm checking multiple scheduling places and everything said TBA, and I'm like, really, guys, come on, like let's let's figure out what time it's gonna be.
Normally you get it 2 weeks before, and when it's a
Yeah.
big game, they're like, hey, we have a designation for, hey, we're waiting another week. And we got that email earlier this week saying we're not giving you a time because it'll be interesting to see where we're ranked at the time, where they're ranked, because we got a bunch of games tomorrow that'll change everything. So and they have a bye week too, so they're doing the same thing. They're resting, they're going to be fresh. If they have any injuries, I'm sure some guys will be back too. So, and same with us. So everyone will be healthy, and it'll be hopefully a beautiful day. I don't know. I'm guessing it will be, and it'll be a heck of a matchup.
Yeah, and before we jump in rapid fire here with Tim Lester, do want to make a note, Kinnick Stadium, 69,000 plus. Would love to just get your thoughts to somebody who hasn't experienced Kinnick Stadium, what it's like to be there for a Hawkeyes football game. Bring me into the atmosphere that Oregon is going to be coming into.
Yeah, I mean, it's been sold out. I think it reminds me a lot of Lambeau. I mean, it's been sold out for 30, 40 years, whatever it is. These fans, it's woven into the fabric of the community, right? The tailgating. Some people tailgate and then just go home because they weren't able to get a ticket. Uh, and it's every game that way. It's such a unique experience. The one end zone is so loud. I mean, I think it was, I don't know, 4 years ago we played Penn State. They jumped off sides 3 times in a row offensively because it was so loud on that end. So it'll be a rocking atmosphere. But I think just the tailgating and everything that goes into it. I guess I think I didn't take. I took it for granted in year one. Maybe it was because I was coming from Lambeau, where I was so nervous about calling the game. I really didn't pay attention to what was going on around me. But these last 2 weekends from Penn State and Minnesota, I mean, this place is an advantage. It's rocking. And it's unlike many places. It's been fun for me. I have a freshman quarterback, Ryan Fitzgerald, Pat's son, and I've known Pat since we played 7-on-7 against each other in high school.
Yeah.
And he's a Big Ten guy, right? He's spent 17 years at Northwestern, and so he's been around the league, and so it's fun for him to be a parent coming to games. And I learned so much that he's just in awe of this place and the fans, because I mean, and he's been everywhere. So getting his take on this program and this fan base, and just how into the game they are, and then we have the wave at the end of the first quarter, which no matter what's going on, you could be up 15, down 15. It just puts everything into perspective that, we have over the top of our stadium, the Children's Hospital looks down in, and everyone stops and waves to the children. I mean, it's just it's a unique thing. It's a bucket list. You have to check it off. You need to check it off at some point, because it is unique and special. And you will, I've never had anyone come here who's been like, man, it didn't live up to the hype,
Yeah, and I know that you and I have discussed this, and there's actually one of the dates that I'm looking at to try and make this happen, or a couple dates that I'm looking at to try and figure this thing out. So I know that I have to tell you because you have this home game and then you have one more after this. So,
Yep.
and I know we spoke about it before, so we will talk about it off the air. I do want to jump into rapid fire though. Tim Lester here with me, Iowa Hawkeyes offensive coordinator, quarterbacks coach, 2025-26 college football season here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora inside the Great Lakes Honda City Studios. No big deal. They're 4-1 in the Big Ten, 6-2 overall in the top 4 of 18 schools in the Big Ten. And when I say no big deal, that is facetious, that is sarcastic, because Iowa, if they're not on your radar, well, then you need to wake up. So with that being said, you get to ask the first question, Mr. Lester. What do you got for me?
All right, I've been ready for this one.
Okay.
All right, so tell me this:
All right.
what and I could go back and look at our text strand back and forth, me and you.
Okay.
But what is your most used emoji? Are you a pounded guy? Are you a smiley face? Are you a smiley face crying? Are you a thumbs up? Like what is your most used emoji? It'll tell me a lot about you. But what is your most used emoji?
It's the smiley face crying laughing.
Crying, laughing. That's
sure.
yours. That's your go-to.
That's my go-to because
Okay.
I love to make people laugh, and I love when people make me laugh. So I'm gonna say that one for sure because I know, like, and it's funny that you said that because I sent that. I know that, like, that was my most recent one that I sent.
Uh-huh.
My question back to you, Tim. If if the closest person to you had to describe you as 3 emojis, what
Ooh.
3 emojis would they say best describe? So tell me the person that's describing you, the one that you would trust to do this. So who is the person and what are the 3 emojis that they would pick in your opinion?
Ooh, to describe me, I would probably say I would either have, I mean, right close to me right now, Coach Ferentz is right on the other side of that wall, or Billy Vandermerk's my analyst. He's in here the most, him and Warren.
Okay.
If they were to describe me, they'd have to put a smiley emoji just because I'm I'm a silver lining guy, right? That's just who I am.
Yeah.
They would probably put that one guy that's like walking, just because I do. Everyone makes fun of how fast I walk. I walk fast. I'm going places,
Ditto.
right? Like I think I'm the fastest walker. I thought I was the fastest walker in the history of walkers until I met Ryan Downard. He's the safeties coach for the Green Bay Packers, and he walked by me, and I couldn't believe it. I decided to stop him and have a conversation. He actually sent me last week. Or last month, he sent me a study in Harvard that said like people that walk fast are more successful or something. He sent me a text. I was like, sweet, because he's the fastest walker in history. And hopefully a heart emoji. Like I genuinely I try to be as genuine as humanly possible and get to know my players and care about them and ask them what's going on in their world. Because it's a all encompassing thing. These players and coaches have so much going on their plate and their families, and you just try to do everything you can and be a support mechanism for them. Those would be the 3 that I would hope they would choose.
Yeah, I think it's funny that you said that because I have an exclusive multimedia marketing partnership with Onondaga Community College, and their SID, Taylor Casella, she was walking next to me, and I was like, "You're walking fast," and she's like, "I'm actually slowing myself down," and I'm like, I always get yelled at for taking too big of strides and walking too fast, and she got past me, and I was like, and then I remember leaving a soccer game, and she was going so fast that I was almost like, because like she got to her point and she turned around and she was talking to me, and I'm like, okay, I was like, are you trying to like get away from the conversation? Because she like blew fast and then she stopped to talk to me, and I was like, why do you move like that? Like I know how fast I move. And I've gotten yelled at for years I mean, when I'm dating somebody, Tim, that girl will hold my hand and she's like, "You're pulling me," like literally pulling me.
It's like
forward.
A tow rope in a boat, right? Like you're skiing behind. My wife talks about it all the time. She sent me something on Instagram like a family in the airport, and the dad is like hauling, right? And that's who I am. And so like she's just like she's a great water skier behind me because I'm walking, I'm going, and that's just I don't know why I don't know why it's that way, but it's just the way it is, you know.
That's the way we move.
Yeah,
What's your
nothing wrong
next?
with it.
Yeah, there's nothing wrong with it. What's your next question for me?
I would say, okay, so what is your so how do you what's your number one way in celebrating something? So let's say whatever it is, like celebrate something personal, celebrate a business accomplishment. Like what are you doing? Like how are you celebrating a win? Like what is your it doesn't need to be a guilty pleasure, but what are you like, wow, we that this something great just happened. How are you celebrating it?
Knees on the ground, thanking the Lord first and foremost.
Mm-hmm.
Talking to my parents and getting people together and probably just having dinner. Like just
Yeah.
having a meal. Like I want to
No.
I want to
You want to
see
sit.
yeah, like I want to just sit and be with people and you know I'd like to have all of them and I always think this is how I think about it. I'm like, okay, I want to have my people with me. And then I always think about people like yourself where I'm like I know that I probably can't get Tim because he's coaching and he's doing this and that. But there's like when I celebrated 21 years in broadcasting this past year, like, and it'll be 22 actually within a few days here. I wanted to have as many people out as I could, but I was like, I'm doing it during football season. So you're one of those people that's on my brain where I'm like, you know, and we had a wonderful room of people and then people sent videos, but it's
Mm-hmm.
like, something like that when I was celebrating that, I was like, I want to just be able to snap my fingers and instead of you all being on a plane to just like get you here so that you could be with me for 2 hours, snap my fingers and you're back at your desk. Because like
Mm-hmm.
I would love to have everybody.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean it's I just thanking God and being grateful and then just being around my people.
Being around people, go to dinner, sit down,
Yeah.
enjoy the relationships, right?
Yeah. My
I like
question
it.
my question back to you, if you had to give me 3 jobs that you think that I could do. So you're going to give me these 3 professions right now. You're going to be like, "Hey Dan, I need you to do X, Y, and Z." What are these 3 things that you would trust me to do?
Ooh, job. Well, obviously your job. You're great at it, right? Your reporter would be number one,
Thank you.
right?
Thank you.
Okay, I mean, that's what you do. You're a natural. So there's one. Other job, like I've never thought of that way. What else could you do? Hmm. There's nothing you can. I mean, I don't know. I don't know. That's a hard one. You might have won that one because that's stuff like what other jobs could I see? You know, I could see. Well, I could definitely see you being a teacher.
Okay.
Like I could see you like communicating with a classroom. You know, whether it's I mean, it could be kindergarten, it could be college, you know what I mean? But I could see you being a professor, you know, just to share just the communication part. I think that's, I mean, when you can communicate, you can do anything, right? I mean, like one thing you learn quickly is if you just be a communication major, every business in America wants you because you can talk to people, which is
Yeah.
a dying breed, you
Yeah.
know?
Yeah.
So I would say professor.
Okay.
That would definitely be, I could see you doing that.
Okay.
And then finally, the last one, huh? Because you can communicate, so you can do anything. What would you like to do? How about? I mean, I could see you in business. I don't think you'd be happy though. I think you'd be kicking ass at it and making a ton of money in like in Wall Street, you know. But I think you'd be miserable because it wouldn't be the relationships wouldn't be what you wanted them to be, you know. And maybe
Okay.
some companies, I'm sure some companies do have an unbelievable culture of communication. And you'd probably be trying all the while making millions of dollars on Wall Street. You'd be trying at all times to make it what you wanted it to be, you know?
Yeah.
I think that would be, but that one's not a good one because I don't think you'd have fun. I
Yeah.
don't think you'd be miserable. You'd be rich and miserable. So
Yeah. Yeah. No,
you'd
I
be
mean,
good at it, but be miserable.
no, it makes sense. I mean, when I was an account executive working in the radio stations, I was like, I remember one day, I'll never forget it. I was at my first job out of college And I liked everything. Like I was all dressed in my suit, and I liked dressing up, and I had my, camel coat on and all that stuff, and camel colored, folks, not an actual camel. Don't freak out. And I looked in the mirror and I said, when are you going to be Dan Tortora again? You let me know. I was like, you let
Mhm.
me know when you're going to be you. And it wasn't that I gave up myself. It was that every day I went to work, it was a battle. Like for me to be myself, I was going
Mhm.
against everything that like the embodiment of my bosses. It wasn't me. And it
Mhm.
was just like sell, sell, sell. And I was like relationships and honesty. And
No.
so that wasn't their thing necessarily with certain people. So yeah, I can understand what you're saying with that for sure. And one thing, the reason why I have a mustache and not a goatee is that I'm doing a thing that God and I have talked about, and that I really wanted to get into more. And I've gotten to hopefully build some really cool networking, and I'm hopeful. So
Good.
yeah,
Good.
what is your last question for me?
My last question would be, what is your, because everyone has one, and maybe you don't, but what is your, and I'm not talking, we're going to talk, and I don't want to get too deep here. I want to say, like, what is fear? When we talk about fear,
Yeah.
like, what animal do you like? I don't want to be anywhere near any type of this animal. Like, when you see it, you're like, I'm out. I'm out. I'm running the other direction because they just give me the heebie-jeebies.
Yeah, for some odd reason, there's like a couple people that I've met that were like, "Wait, but this is your favorite comic book character," and I was like, "It's not the same," and that would be spiders. That would be
Yeah.
spiders. I
Yeah,
do not like.
that spider saves people. This
Right.
one is scaring me.
Yeah, like there's say like if you're big enough that I can look at you eye to eye, like eye to eyes, no.
Mm,
And I don't. I have a deal with spiders outside my house. There's two things. You can be a spider, but you can't get to a certain size. And then
yeah.
the other part of it is if you're gonna be here, you stay outside, and I inspect their work. I go to their
Yeah.
nest. I see how many bugs they kept out of my house, and as
Yeah.
long as we're good with that, then we got a deal. When you come into my house, it's straight
It's
up
over.
murder. It's murder.
Yeah.
And so I would say spiders because I can't think about it when I see one because like I have like these reddish brown ones. When I
Yeah.
see one come in, my brain I don't even let my brain think. I take the shoe off and I'm like murder, and
Go.
then I pick it up and throw it in the toilet before I can think about it. So
Okay. Fair.
yeah, and the wolf spider like they're big and they're hairy and they're huge and
Gary. Yeah.
there's so many things about spiders that I want to ask God like okay, I understand that they eat other insects and they eat mosquitoes, which is good, but like, could you just have stopped at a certain point of making them big?
Yeah. Couldn't you make something that looks like a bunny rabbit that eats mosquitoes? Like, why
Yeah,
not?
just have a bunny that has
That
the
hops
ability.
around.
Because there's well, and I'm gonna. This is one thing that this freaks me out. So there's spiders that will actually they go up in trees and apparently they're huge and they will sit open and like a nest and a bird will like land in it like it's a nest and it will close on it. Like that to me is like I
Oh my
can't
God.
it just like I can't do Stephen King stuff. I can't.
No.
Like The Mist, no.
Yeah. No. How about arachnophobia? Have you seen that when he looks over a thing and the thing
Yeah,
it's a whole,
when he sets it on fire and it's still running,
yeah,
like
that's scary.
and I will say I have to say this one more thing about spiders. What there was so I'm thinking about in the Mist and watching that movie, which was horrifying to see that. But I can't do any of this stuff with the spiders. So there was that's what I was going to talk about. So in Peacemaker in season 2, John Cena, my favorite wrestler, I met him. He was super nice to me. Awesome experience. Shout out to John Cena. And so he's in Peacemaker. In the last episode of season 2, I'm not spoiling anything, they open a door to like another universe, and there's massive spiders with giant skulls, and the skulls are like leaning back and screaming. And this one
Oh
person
God.
was like, I wish they spent more time here. And I was like, what is wrong with you? Like, why would you like, I was like, who thinks of this stuff? Like, hey, you know what? Let's have a hell world where there's giant spiders, there's fire everywhere, and there's these massive skulls on top of their bodies that are screaming. Like, that is a nightmare from Rob Zombie. I can't.
Mhm.
I can't do it. Like, if I was playing a football team as a coach that had spiders on their helmet, like, I know Richmond, but theirs are nice
Richmond.
looking, you know?
Yeah.
But if there was
Yeah.
like
It
a
looks
skull,
small.
yeah, like if there was a skull spider on their helmet, I'd go over to the official and be like, I tell them they have to take those off. Like, we're not doing this here.
Oh, I love it.
So
I love it.
my last question for you is, what is your most irrational movie fear? Like, you're not like something in like a movie, a thing in a movie that you won't watch a movie if it has this thing. Not a fear, but just something that you're like, no, it gives you the ick or whatever. It makes you uncomfortable.
Yeah, I am. I don't watch a lot of movies, and when I do, they're normally. I'm very predictable, right?
Okay.
I'm going to watch a funny movie. I'm going to watch every kind of war movie possible, where as long as the good guys win in the end after they go through their adversity, and looks like all is lost, and then they come back and win at the end. Like, I can handle all that gore
Okay.
and all the like. I love those type movies. But I would tell you that, like, any kind of like zombie possessed eyes rolling back in the head, like something coming out, like any kind of like little girl that's possessed,
Okay.
and like, I'm not into, like, as soon as I see the preview, like, I'm done. And to each his own. If you like to watch that stuff, go for it. I just cannot handle that whole world of craziness, and I don't even watch them. I won't even. It's great because you have a choice to totally keep yourself out of that world.
Yeah.
And there's plenty. I mean, you see them. They show you and there's one on right now where they show the one eyeball, and then the second eyeball, and the third eyeball pops up in one eye of this girl. I think it's a girl, maybe, or it's someone. No, 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 thank you. No possessed houses, no possessed people in the dungeon, all that. I
No.
don't need that in my life.
No, and it was funny because I was having a conversation about that recently, and I mean, I have a close relationship with God, and I firmly do believe that when you watch that stuff, you're opening yourself to this stuff. And
Evil world.
yeah, and I'm like,
Yeah.
we don't need any of that. That portal needs to
No.
be shut. I will say this though, I really, really hope that when you play Oregon, that Mark Gronowski can up and he gets under center and he calls out a play called Zombie. I really do.
Yeah. Oh, we have a drill called Zombie. We have a drill.
Okay.
And yeah, we have a drill called Zombie. I got it. I've been doing it for a long time, but I've I don't know. It doesn't. I like I said, I have not watched a scary movie in like 20 years. So I'm so disconnected. It's not like I get forced to do it or anything like that. Like, eventually you become an adult and you don't have to go anywhere near anything.
Yeah.
I guess if I had a friend that made a movie and it was like that, I would maybe go just to support my friend, but I would probably not pay attention, keep my mouth shut the entire time, and it's just get no, I don't. And it's funny because, like, my 16-year-old, he loves them. Like, I think it's just like the high school thing to do. Let's go to the scary movie, and
Yeah.
everyone can scream, and like, they think it's the coolest thing ever, and I'm just no interest at all. To each his own. I won't judge you, but I don't want anything to do with it.
No, I said I'll fully be like the father that if I have a child and they hide behind a door and they pretend to be possessed or something and they scare me,
Yeah.
I will leave you in the house. I will get in the car. I will drive away.
Yes.
You
You're
know?
on your own.
Yeah.
You're on your own.
I was like, if I'm in a house and my child, I walk by a room and I see them just like staring into a dark closet and they're talking. And I go, hey, buddy, what are you doing? He's like, oh, I'm talking to my friend. Da, da, da. That's fine. Whatever. I'm going to sell that house, move into another house. If I see them talking in a closet to the same friend, I'm going to kiss them on the forehead and I'm putting them up for adoption. Daddy loves you. But this is a you thing. This is not a us thing. So
yes,
I'm with you. I can't do those movies at all, ever. So with that being said, we talked football, we talked life, we talked zombies, we had fun. Tim Lester, Iowa Hawkeyes offensive coordinator, quarterbacks coach inside the 2025-26 college football season. Mr. Lester, you know I never know how to say goodbye, so I will say see you soon.
See you soon. See you, buddy.
Take care. That coming from Tim Lester one more time here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, where sports truly meets that thing called life. Cannot thank Tim enough for being a part of the show. And shout out to the Iowa Hawkeyes putting that work in. Much respect for the work that they're doing. And I will be the first to admit that I wasn't really having them on my radar and paying attention to it. I didn't consider the Indiana win over them a quality win. And then when I went back and reassessed everything, I said, hey, Indiana's got 2 quality wins, and it's Oregon and it's Iowa. So give Iowa their flowers. They should be ranked, in my opinion, for what they're doing right now, being in the top 4 in the conference of the Big Ten. I mean, there's respect for Oregon. There's respect for Ohio State. There's respect for Indiana. There needs to be respect for Iowa up within that as well, in the top 4 in the upper echelon of the Big Ten this year. So shout out to Tim Lester, shout out to the Hawkeyes, and God bless on the rest of their season, and to everybody out there going out and having a good time. We'll take a step aside for a fast break inside the Great Lakes Honda City Studios, and we'll wrap up the show right after this, where sports meets life. Stay with us on Wake Up Call.
In these unique times, there are those in our community that give us a sense of normalcy and positivity. Pizza Man on 50 Oswego Street in Baldwinsville has been here for you for over 35 years and is here now. Call 315-638-1234 or order online at pizzamanbville.com to bring those familiar tastes into your home. And remember to come see our monthly on-site broadcasts centered around the community and our Baldwinsville Bees. Pizza Man in Baldwinsville. Any way you slice it, they are always here for you. Looking for your next ride? Look no further than Great Lakes Honda City, located on 7140 Henry Clay Boulevard in Liverpool, New York. Serving our community for decades, their new and pre-owned vast array of vehicles are available to you Monday through Saturday on site. To search from home, shop at GreatLakesHondaCity.com. Call 315-365-5576 to set up an appointment. That's 315-365-5576 for Great Lakes Honda City, 7140 Henry Clay Boulevard in Liverpool, New York. Great cars, great people, Great Lakes.
All right, you need to come out here and get yourself the Brooklyn Pickle. I was talking about this with one of my buddies. I was like, yo, there's no better sandwich in the state of New York than the Brooklyn Pickle. And now that I found out that they're going down to North Carolina, we are taking over your taste buds everywhere you are, wherever you're going to be. You need to get yourself out to the Brooklyn Pickle. Pinehurst, you just realized that you found yourself the best sandwich shop that you're ever going to have. This is a glorious moment. It's a blessing to your community. You're welcome. Brooklyn in the house, baby. Go over to the Brooklyn Pickle. You already know what it is.
You heard the man. Head to Brooklyn Pickle Pinehurst on 1788 Old Morgantown Road in Southern Pines, North Carolina.
Hi, this is Amy from Mother's Cupboard, home of the whole frittata. We are open daily 6 a.m. to 1:30 p.m. For takeout orders, call 315-432-0942 and tune in to Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora for our monthly food challenge and try our Wake Up Call signature menu item available 7 days a week. Here at Mother's Cupboard, we are Central New York, and it's our honor to serve you.
Ma and Pa's Kettle Corn and Popcorn Factory remind us that every day is worth celebrating at 201 7th North Street in Liverpool, New York. Open Monday through Saturday in-store and always online at maandpaspopcorn.com. Serving our Central New York community and beyond, order anywhere, anytime at maandpaspopcorn.com. Stop in to get a tin at Ma and Pa's on 201 7th North Street in Liverpool, New York to get your half-price refills for the rest of your life. Come to Ma and Pa's for your holiday gift giving for family, friends, employees, and clients. And remember, for fundraising and events, to call 315-450-6272. That's 315-450-6272. Ma and Pa's Kettle Corn and Popcorn Factory. How corny are you?
This is Jim Sikowski, owner-operator of Chick-fil-A Cicero, 7916 Brewerton Road in Cicero, right in front of the Home Depot. I had a deep feeling that God wanted me to do something bigger with my life and to help people, help others. I kept putting Chick-fil-A in my life, and I realized as I was going through the franchise selection process that positively impacting the lives of others was really core to what we do here at Chick-fil-A. First of all, it starts with the food. The food is brought in fresh daily. We bring in local produce. We prepare to order in the kitchen. We hand bread our chicken. We hand spin our milkshakes. It's great food. It doesn't taste like fast food. I think the second thing is the way people feel when they come in a Chick-fil-A restaurant. It's different. We try to treat people with intentional kindness here, which is very different and deeper than good customer service. And so I think it feels remarkable for most people to come in a Chick-fil-A restaurant. And then lastly, the impact that we try to have in the community is very different. It's a big part of the expectation of every operator of a Chick-fil-A restaurant is that they're actively engaged in their community, they're a leader in the community, and they're making a difference. When they realize that what we're striving to do is to shine a little light in their life, that's a very, very different experience than you will have in any other quick service restaurant. And it's that remarkable experience that I think people will emotionally connect with.
Make sure that you head out to Chick-fil-A in DeWitt, corner of Bridge Street and Erie Boulevard today and Monday through Saturday. As you know, they are closed on Sundays. Chick-fil-A in DeWitt offering you for a limited time only the Pretzel Cheddar Club in original, spicy, and grilled. The Pretzel Cheddar Club, which I've had, is absolutely fantastic. You can get that and more in the newest Chick-fil-A in Central New York on the corner of Bridge Street and Erie Boulevard. You can't miss the brick building, the double drive-through, and there's so many ways to enjoy Chick-fil-A in DeWitt, be it the drive-through, going inside, or ordering on the app. And of course, the app has wonderful perks that come with it as well. So we'll see you over at Chick-fil-A DeWitt today. With that being said, here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, I want to thank you for being a part of the show today. I want to thank you for taking some time with us and spending time with Tim and I, and of course, with these wonderful segments with the Annoying Moment of the Week presented by Carvel DeWitt, Chick-fil-A Cicero, and I bringing you Lead, Learn, Evolve, Ad-Lib, and Deliver about sometimes feeling like the minority. And a big shout out to the top dog of the week, my parents, for pulling off the absolutely perfect surprise party for my birthday to celebrate 40. And that top dog of the week presented by Canine Camp Dog Daycare, the only place I would tell you to bring your dog for daily care. And big time shout out, of course, to Tim Lester and the Iowa Hawkeyes. So thank you for being with us up and down the East Coast, the Midwest, the West Coast, and all around the globe on Facebook.com and YouTube.com, both / WakeUpCallDT, and on WakeUpCallDT.podbean.com. Once the show go live, they hop into the archive on Amazon Music, Audible, iHeartRadio, iTunes, and Apple Podcasts, Player FM, Podbean, Podchaser.com, Podvine, Spotify, TuneIn, and YouTube. All you have to do is search Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, or one word, Wake Up Call DT. Make sure to subscribe and to follow us on all of these wonderful channels. You can also ask Alexa or your Google Home device to play the latest episode of Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, and they will do that for you as well. Many thanks to the wonderful team in Central and Upstate New York. Please support those that support us. Great Lakes Honda City, Carvel DeWitt, the Wildcat Sports Pub, GG Cards and Breaks, Myers Creek, where we will be tonight in the Syracuse Inner Harbor. Wake Up Call Game Day live broadcasts are here with you throughout the entire Syracuse Orange Football 2025 home schedule. So we have a game tonight on Halloween at 7:30 that kicks off. So Isaac and I will be at Myers Creek on 720 Van Rensselaer Street in the Syracuse Inner Harbor at 4:30 p.m. So we'll see you at Myers Creek to pregame, and then we'll go with you up to the Dome right after that. Big time thanks to Chick-fil-A Cicero, as well as MON-FRI, the snack capital of the world. It's not too late to get to MON-FRI on 201 Old 7th North Street in Liverpool, New York today to get all of those awesome treats that are going to make your Halloween extra special and unique, because MON-FRI is unlike any other. Big time thanks to Canine Camp Dog Daycare, Mother's Cupboard, Chick-fil-A DeWitt, Game Point Sports Complex, Pizza Man, Brian's Landing, Canine Campground Dog Boarding, Avicoli's, and of course we are the exclusive multimedia marketing partner of your Bryan and Stratton College Bobcats of Syracuse. The Bobcats are with you every single month. Student athletes, coaches, administration, and alumni joining me in the Bobcat Buzz every month. And you can find all of our content by going to youtube.com/WakeUpCallDT. Click subscribe, hit the notification bell, and find the BSC Syracuse playlist. The Bobcats are also on WakeUpCallDT.com's homepage and underneath the exclusive partners tab. For more information, go to syracuse.bscbobcats.com and go Bobcats. The Binghamton University Bearcats are exclusive multimedia marketing partners with Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora. Find your Bearcats every single Tuesday at 10 a.m. Eastern Time weekly, with student athletes, coaches, administration, and alumni joining me throughout the year to tell the greater story of the Binghamton Bearcats and what they call One Binghamton. You will find all of our content by going to youtube.com/WakeUpCallDT. Click subscribe, hit the notification bell, and find our Binghamton playlist. The Bearcats are also on WakeUpCallDT.com's homepage and underneath the exclusive partners tab. For more information, go to BinghamtonBearcats.com and go Bearcats. The Onondaga Community College Lasers are exclusive multimedia marketing partners with Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora. Find your lasers every other Wednesday at 9 a.m. Eastern Time. So the next time you will have them here on Wake Up Call is November 12th at 9 a.m. Eastern Time, because we just had them this week celebrating their men's cross-country team, Greg Keeler. You can go back and watch this special on youtube.com and facebook.com, both /WakeUpCallDT. The special featuring Greg Keeler, the men's cross-country head coach at OCC for the Lasers, helping the team and coaching the team to a back-to-back Region 3 championship that has sent them to nationals, and becoming back-to-back Region 3 Coach of the Year. Everything in our Laser Lounge is on youtube.com /WakeUpCallDT. Click subscribe, hit the notification bell, and find the OCC playlist. You'll also find the Lasers by going to WakeUpCallDT.com's homepage and underneath the exclusive partners tab. For more information, go to OnondagaLasers.com and go Lasers. I want to thank you for tuning into today's show. Thank you to MON-FRI, letting us know what's popping, giving us the list of topics for the day. Thanks to Carvel DeWitt for the annoying moment of the week. Thanks to Chick-fil-A Cicero for lead, learn, evolve, ad-lib, and deliver. Thank you to Canine Camp Dog Daycare for our top dog, and I'm celebrating my parents and their surprise birthday party for me. Big time thanks to my very good friend Tim Lester, Iowa Hawkeyes offensive coordinator and quarterbacks coach. And from the Great Lakes Honda City Studios, I'll see you at Myers Creek with Isaac today at 4:30 p.m. for us to kick off Syracuse and North Carolina with you. Myers Creek today, Halloween, 4:30 p.m. Be at Myers Creek, Van Rensselaer Street in Syracuse, New York, and that is in the Syracuse Inner Harbor. We'll see you there at 720 Van Rensselaer Street. From the Great Lakes Honda City Studios, I say God bless. No stress. Do your best. Have a wonderful day. Stay safe. And remember, God is always working in your favor. He loves you.